How's it going, everyone? This is your Astrology Horoscope for the weekend of June 29th and 30th, 2024. I'm astrologer Alex Skyles, and welcome to the Moon Base. Hope you guys are doing great. Happy weekend. Hope your week was wonderful. This moon in Aries coming into this weekend, it's going to square Venus, so there can be a lot of stress this weekend with Saturn slowing down, Venus and the moon making their square, with Venus and the moon's ruling sign. The moon in a very hot place in the chart. So, there can be some tests in relationships, big time this weekend, about which direction to head or how fast things are moving, right? This can be like when things are moving way too quickly with moon square Venus, and it's like, whoa, we need to actually talk about things and set some boundaries and have a more clear understanding instead of moving forward with just some fiery impulse. It's good to actually flesh things out and, understand, what the real value of the relationship really truly is before you really want to move towards the next step. So there could be a challenge there this weekend. And Saturn, of course, is going retrograde. So we're feeling a lot of weight this weekend, a lot of emotional weight, and it's very intense at the same time. It's very fiery. It's very fiery and very watery right now, this weekend, with this moon in Aries. So as Saturn goes retrograde here in the afternoon, this is where we're going to start to revisit and look at things, more in that subconscious space. And I think the Saturn retrograde is going to really teach us and remind us and help us look at our physical reality in a much more honest way. And there might be some difficult truths that come up through the Saturn retrograde, which can be hard to accept. But I think these are the ultimate lessons that help us evolve spiritually, and gain more awareness of our inner subconscious space and not be so unconscious and let the subconscious drive the ship, becoming aware of the subconscious and the unconscious. So with Saturn going retrograde, this is when a lot of subconscious stuff starts to surface and show itself here with Saturn in Pisces going retrograde. And this moon on Chiron, as Saturn's slowing down, so there is this kind of, slow, heavy, almost just a lot of weight, this weekend. And there's a lot of different areas to look at, our spiritual health, our physical health, our mental health. That's going to be coming up a lot, even when Neptune is slowing down here, getting ready to go retrograde as well. I think the first week of July. So, these planets in Pisces moving slow like this is when the delusions start to really reflect themselves within your reality, and that the karma of that delusional place where we can get stuck with Neptune and Saturn and Pisces. Things start to karmically play out. And with Saturn retrogrades, this is when karma really unfolds, from things that occurred between the last Saturn retrograde and when Saturn was direct. So the things that we were building, it's like now we can start to revisit those things with Saturn retrograde. Look at all the things that we were building and all the things that we were doing and how we were spiritually evolving and growing. And while Saturn was direct, the foundation that we were really laying for ourselves, and the way we were being tested in our physical world. Now it's like, when Saturn goes retrograde almost in the middle of a sign. It's like, you're halfway through a whole school year, right? And this is like right before Christmas break, and you're taking your final test for the last semester of, halfway through the year. So this is what this energy kind of feels like. It's like we're halfway through Saturn in Pisces, so now we get to look at this area that Saturn has covered and what we've done and what we've put in, our spiritual evolution, the awareness that we've gained, but also this is connected to Neptune in Pisces, which Neptune went to Pisces in 2011 and 2012. And now that Neptune is at the final degree here, 2955. So it's like, Saturn is really teaching us where Neptune over these past 15 years has, helped us expand that frequency, but also, the weird, crazy wormholes that we've gotten lost in with Neptune in Pisces. Neptune in Pisces has brought a lot of spiritual growth, but a lot of weird, crazy shit, So Saturn covering this territory is helping us filter and discern all the good things about Neptune covering that whole area since 2011. But also helping us be honest about like the fucking crazy, weird, over-the-top Neptunian wild shit that was just so far out of reality or beliefs that, you've attached to about some crazy, weird shit that is so far out, It's like Saturn going retrograde here is helping us filter out what is just total nonsense and what is fact and fiction, but also helping us look at things where it's like maybe we didn't want to believe, maybe we didn't want to have faith, and things start to show up and the karma starts to play out in a positive way where it's like, fuck, it reminds you that when we're in strong Neptunian Piscean times, it's all about faith. It's all about surrender. It's all about letting go. So Saturn slowing down here, it's like, yeah, there's a heavy feeling to this. There's a heavy feeling with Saturn going retrograde and the moon on Chiron at the same time. So we're going to feel this going into Sunday as well. And then the moon is going to come into Taurus, where it's exalted here. So this is really nice about Sunday. When the moon leaves Aries, some of that over-the-top emotional intensity can chill a bit. And so, yeah, in the early Sunday morning, this moon's going to come into Taurus here. So we have the sun in the moon's ruling sign. Okay, and we have the moon, which is where, is the ruling planet of Cancer, or the ruling illuminary of Cancer, with Venus in Cancer. So there's a lot of Taurus Venus energy here, and Mars is playing a part too, because we just had that Mars-Venus sextile, and Venus is starting to break away from that sextile here, as we can see. But yeah, now that this moon's in Taurus, where it's exalted, it's like, we could start to really stop and smell the roses, and because that moon in Aries was super intense. So now this moon is very happy. It's very glad to be here in Taurus. It's glad to actually be in a spot where it can not feel so impatient, right? So this moon can actually help Mars as well ground some of the energy. So I feel like this moon in Taurus is really going to help us ground things emotionally, where over the past few days, it's been fucking wild. Even with Saturn going retrograde, this can really help lift the spirits with this moon in Taurus. So, now we can really not be so pressurized, because that moon in Aries was really causing a lot of pressure, even with Saturn. So I feel like now that a little bit of pressure can ease up, it's like, doing things that make you feel good, doing things that make you feel secure, like being in that morning weekend routine of, just some situation or something that is familiar. I feel like that can really be helpful this weekend. And I feel like that's a lot of this Cancer Taurus energy too, is that familiar, nostalgic, comfortable, satisfying type of energy that's coming through. And Mars is 10 degrees away from its conjunction with Uranus by this weekend. So, we're going to start to feel Uranus in a very intense way as these next 3 weeks start to brew as we get to the middle of July when the exact conjunction happens. So, we're going to start to see some really unexpected events play out. And definitely things that are going to rock the boat here. We can't really foretell what that's going to be. We can only look at, what's going on collectively and going on in our personal lives and, analyze it for what it is at this moment. But that's what this Mars Uranus is going to bring. There's going to be something that is going to shake you out of your comfort zone where you're going to have to really move and think quickly. And, it's ultimately a good thing. It will ultimately be very expansive in the end. Because this is where Jupiter and Uranus all crossed, and Mars is crossing this area, putting all that into action, and this moon crossing it too this weekend with Mars is really, we're starting to feel that. We're starting to feel Mars getting closer to Uranus this weekend with the moon getting close to Mars. And the moon and Mars being in the same sign. So, we're going to start to feel that electricity, and the unsettling kind of energy. Like, man, something's about to fucking pop here. We're going to start to feel that this weekend with the moon and Mars being in the same sign. So, and it is too, Saturn's slowing down. I think it's just a reminder. It's just a refresh button on your internet browser to revise things that you've been building, things that you've been growing, look at your foundation in life. Where can things be better? Where can you, patch things up? Where can you create more healing? Where can you, surrender more and let go and not try to control things? And where can you set better boundaries with Saturn going retrograde? Boundaries are a big deal with Saturn. Boundaries are a big deal with Pisces, because there are no boundaries with Pisces and with Neptune. That's where the struggle is. So, Saturn is teaching us spiritual boundaries as well. So, we have the Two of Pentacles. So it is. It's like we're kind of in between both worlds right now. We're kind of in between the physical and the spiritual world, and that's what Saturn and Pisces is teaching us, is how to materialize the spiritual world on a physical level. Whether we're channeling art or our creativity or our spirituality, Saturn and Pisces is teaching us how to make that real, and turn it into something that actually can be a part of the system of our 3D reality. And the spark of creativity that comes from that divine intuitive place, comes before the actual logical understanding of how to put things in order and how to structure it, so that's Saturn and Pisces, is being able to help us bridge both of those worlds, and that loop of, bringing in the non-physical and materializing the physical and so on, so forth. And, it's the alchemical process of creation and, creating things that never existed from materials that already existed. So anyway, Saturn's going retrograde. There's a lot of lessons to be learned, a lot of spiritual lessons. You definitely want to look at things in a more honest, clear way. Neptune will be, coming retrograde too, so the rose-colored glasses will be dissolving even more so. So I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you all next week. Peace out.